The American dream, owning your own home, maybe even with a white picket fence. But how is home ownership? How has it come to matter this much to the national psyche? Well, joining us right now is Alyssa Katz. She teaches journalism at New York University. She is also the author of Our Lot, How Real Estate Came to Own Us. Alyssa, we're really glad to have you with us. First of all, I mean, should every American own a home? Is that an inalienable right?
Absolutely not. I mean, home ownership, the rate at which Americans own homes reached 69% during the recent bubble, and it's now declining rapidly, and that's simply because many people who had taken out home loans simply could not pay them, as we know. Absolutely not. Government policy has pushed home ownership as the be-all and end-all for many, many years.
It's been a popular political platform, right?
Absolutely. And, for many people, that was a great boon, a great opportunity to move up in life, but for many others, as we now know, that is proved disastrous.
Yeah, it's created more problems for some families, certainly, than it's solved. So if we want to play the blame game, and certainly there's enough blame to go around, who is more at fault? The government for pushing this kind of homeowner agenda through HUD, through many other programs, or individual consumers who just aren't watching their own budget?
If I had to pick one, I really would say it comes straight from Washington. That over so many years, these efforts to make access to mortgages more and more widespread. This was really badly needed a generation ago when it was very difficult for many borrowers to get home mortgages. And at the time, we saw really many very important reforms to make that happen, such as the Community Reinvestment Act in the 1970s. But what came to happen after that was just continued deregulation, expansion of government programs, and aggressive encouragement of private industry to loosen its standards, all in the name of expanding the American dream. But along the way, the home ownership went from being a way to build wealth into many cases a way of draining wealth from families that were really struggling, didn't have high incomes, would buy a home and then quickly find themselves besieged with offers for refinancing, get cash back out of your home.
But that surely can't all be the government. And as we know now, mortgage brokers being unregulated played a big role, as did banks. I mean, there was a whole system.
Oh, absolutely. And my point of view on this is that really the financial industry and the brokers and banks that were financed through mortgage securitization really did only what they were allowed to do. I mean, clearly a lot of illegal things have happened, but by and large, this was an industry that emerged based on a framework that Washington created in the 1980s to allow for a...
So that's when it all started to fall apart in your view, the 80s.
Well, it's what we had, and for a while I think it worked very well, but what we had was a new credit market that existed that allowed for mortgages to be made and sold that really couldn't have been made before, and this is where we saw the emergence of the subprime industry. And this was part of a plan to make home ownership more widely available. The problem was that industry kept lowering and lowering and lowering its standards in order to broaden its markets, and we saw the real deterioration in that happen in the last few years.
Well, we'd like to have you back, Alyssa, maybe talk about proposed solutions. In the meantime, though, we thank you for your time. Alyssa Katz, author of Our Lot, How Real Estate Came to Own Us. We thank her very much for coming in.